Hello, my name is Dr. Denise Shranowski, and this is this week's A Dose from Dr. Denise, where I hope to teach, show, and inspire you how to release your God-given health and life potential. It is early on a Sunday morning. The sun has come up, and I'm sitting in my backyard, so you're going to hear some birds in the background. I figured I would share that with you. Each week I share a topic that I think applies to all of us, and my goal is to raise the vibration of the planet, a lofty goal, one person at a time. So this week I want to talk on the topic of disappointment. What do we do when we're disappointed? This past week I was up at Rutgers University with my sons, getting them ready in their off-campus apartment, and I was visiting some family as well. I had a great trip, and in the middle of that I received some really disappointing news. There was a business deal that we were working on, and it fell through in the 11th hour. And I tell you, it felt like a punch in the gut as it happened, but I wanted to really manage my state at the time. I was with my sons, and so I got home, a day later, and I was able to process it, and I knew that that's what I wanted to talk about on Sunday. So whatever I talk about, it's something very specific to me. If you like the messages, like my page, A Dose from Dr. Denise, so that you can receive them each Sunday. So what do we do with disappointment? And I was thinking even of the word disappointment. We had an appointment. We had something that we were anticipating happening in our life, and it didn't happen. So whether we call it a disappointment, a problem, a challenge, our disappointments fall in what I consider three buckets, which would be financial disappointments, health disappointments, and relationship disappointments. So whatever you're facing right now, whatever challenge, whatever perhaps you've been disappointed in, it will most likely fall in one of those three buckets. And I believe there's three things that we need to do with any disappointment that we face. Three things. So I want to step through those three things. The first is that we must learn to stay here in the present moment. Now, if you've been following my A Dose from Dr. Denise's for a while, I probably talk about that almost every single Sunday, staying in the present moment, because I think it's so critically important. Because we're human beings, we have the ability and we have consciousness. Unlike animals, we have the ability, we're better than most animals at doing this. We have the ability to take the past, and because of our past experiences, and contextualize it into the present moment, and then throw that out into the future so that we can guess at all the wonderful things that are going to happen in our future. The problem is that we don't usually guess at the wonderful things that are going to happen in our future. We catastrophize our future based on what has happened to us in the past. And playing the what if game with your disappointment is a losing game. You will always, always lose at that game. And so it's very important that whatever challenge you're facing, that you stay in the present moment. What is it that you can do here and today, in this moment, not tomorrow, not next week, not next year? What is it that you can do right now? And you know what? There might be a good chance of it. There's nothing you can do today to work on that disappointment or that challenge. And so, thinking about the future with it just literally does absolutely nothing. In Matthew, the Bible says that I should not worry about tomorrow because tomorrow will have challenges of its own. We can rest assured that in this lifetime, we will absolutely face challenges and disappointments. We know we will. They're a wonderful thing because they give our life perspective, and so we don't appreciate the mountaintop without the valley. So not that we want these things to happen or we anticipate them to happen, but we know that when we're going through them that there's something that's going to be on the other side, that you trust that. So the first thing is that learning to stay in the present moment is really actually quite hard, but you must in order to live a peaceful life, because life is actually only found right here in the now. The second thing is to recognize is that there are things in your control and there are things that are not in your control. So my suggestion is if you're going through something right now in your life, get out a piece of paper and write that challenge, that disappointment, that adversity on the top of a piece of paper. Draw a line straight down the middle, and on the left-hand side of that line, write down all the things that are in your control. And on the right side, you don't have to write things that are not in your control, because that's an infinite number of things. But I promise you that we tend to put most of our energy on the right side of that paper. So let's say that you're disappointed with a financial situation that happened in your life. So what are the things on the left-hand side that you can do with your finances? Well, two things that come to mind is you can make more money and you can spend less money. So there's a lot of things within your control there that you could focus on. Let's say that you're having a relationship problem and, there's lots of things completely outside of your control when it comes to relationships. But, there are things completely within your control. The words that come out of your mouth are within your control. You can always choose to be kind rather than right. So that's within your control. And let's say you're facing a health challenge. What are all the things that are within your control? Let's say you have a really scary diagnosis on your hands. There are still things within your control today that you can do. Could you get a better night's sleep? Could you shut off the noise so that you're not adding more stress to your life? Could you drink more water? Could you take a quarter-mile walk? So we must focus on the things that we can do and that are in our control versus the things that are out of our control. And then that leads me to my third point, which is for all the things that are out of your control, can you remain in faith? The proverbial "it's easier said than done" is so true when it comes to our faith. It's awesome to be singing and clapping and worship and praise music when our life is chugging along quite nicely. But when we go through challenges or disappointments in our life, can we keep the faith? And I decided years ago that yes, I will, and I pray that throughout my life that I keep the faith, because I know that my life is immensely better believing that there's a higher power that works through me. It doesn't mean that I sit in my backyard and eat bonbons all day and do nothing, but I do know that there is a higher power that works through me that can help me solve or resolve any challenge or situation that I'm in. And in one of the books that I read years ago, I wrote down a quote that I wanted to read. The book is called Amazing Grace by Eric Metaxas, and it was on the life of William Wilberforce, who ended slavery in England. So that was a pretty big challenge, I would say, probably much bigger than the small disappointment that I'm going through in my life right now. But in that book is the following quote, and it says, "So true is it that a gracious hand leads us in ways that we know not, and blesses us not only without, but even against our plans and inclinations." So can we trust that whatever we're going through right now, maybe we're being redirected, but can we trust that the ending is going to be way better than the ending that we thought was in our control? Well, the answer to that is yes, I trust that. In Ephesians, the Bible tells me that God, who is at work within me, can do super abundantly above and beyond all I could dare ask or think. And I like focusing on that word think, because, we think our problems to death, and we don't think that, somebody else can step in and give us a better solution. But I'm telling you that somebody else is this higher power that is at work within us, and can we trust that? And it's really, really difficult at times. I understand that. But those are the three things that we need to do with our disappointments. We need to stay in the present moment and not play the what if game, because it's a losing game. We need to focus on what is in our control. What are the things that we can do to solve our problem? And then third, can we leave all the rest to God and trust and have faith? Because when we do that, life is so much more peaceful. So I hope you got something out of today's message. I hope you have a beautiful Sunday, and we'll talk next Sunday. Peace out.